Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brianna Ojard, and I want to thank you for joining us for today's workshop, where we're going to take a look at sales forecasting in the Infor CRM Web client. Your presenter today is Dale Richter, and I'm just going to mention a couple of things, and then I'm going to pass it over to him so we can get started. The first thing you'll have noticed is your line is placed on mute. However, we do encourage you to post any questions you may have to the question pane. And at the conclusion of today's workshop, we'll try to get to those, but oftentimes we will just follow up with questions directly via email. But that's all I have, so I'm going to turn it over to Dale and we can get started. Dale?
Thank you, Brianna. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we'll be looking at sales forecasting in Infor CRM. I'm using an out-of-the-box version of Infor CRM version 8.3.10, not quite 8.4. So if your version looks a little bit different, that's why. Also, your version could probably be customized a little or a lot compared to what you're seeing here. This is out of the box. So using the tools that you have out of the box here, you have a lot of different things right on the main screen for opportunities. You have your close probability, your status, your estimated close, your type of deal, all different things that you can use to create custom groups to show what you have for your forecasting. So, and remember, you must have this data in the system in order to use it for forecasting. But if I go to my list view here, using my list view icon, and depending on what group I'm on, now I've chosen all opportunities because I am logged in as the administrator, and I don't really have much as an administrator. But here, looking at all opportunities, over on the right-hand side, one thing we can look at right away, as you see, is the estimated close. It shows all my different months here that are appropriate for the closing dates. So in my case here, everything is earlier than August. But if there was any in these other months, they would also show up here. So you could very easily go to like April of 2019 and see what opportunities you had closing in that month. That's a pretty quick, easy, simple way to look at what's closing just in that month using the existing filters in the database. We could also look at the stages here. I've got stages down below. So if you're using your stages, you could choose what opportunities are in what stage. A lot of different sales managers have these stages set up so they know exactly what percentage of closing they're at based on the stage that they're at. So like here, if we're at the demonstration stage, I can quickly click that box and see that I have 20 opportunities in at that stage here. I can see each of those opportunities as well as their estimated close dates, the owners of those, if you're using different teams of owners, and the account manager right there in the first column. And of course, I can sort by any of these just by clicking on the column heading if I wanted to see specifics there. Now, if I go back to one of these opportunities, so those are your filters. Filters are very important. You can create filters on many different fields here, but they're very easily set up to use with these different groups. That you can just choose a filter setting and you can segment your opportunities in that way very quick and very easily. Now let me go back to a specific opportunity here. Another very easy way that they have for sales forecasting here is out of the box they have an add to forecast checkbox on the opportunity screen. So if you check this box, you can then go in and create, and I don't have one here, so I'll go create it here. And I'm going to just right click and create a new group, add a group. I'm going to call it my forecasted opportunities. And then in my conditions, I'm just going to use that checkbox, which is in the opportunity table, and it is add to forecast. So I'm just going to double click on that. And now if you get to this point in building this group and you're like, well, is it true? Is it false? Is it yes or is it no? Of course, you can always browse and see the exact data. So I'm going to choose T for true here. That's the data they're using. I'm going to take off the case sensitive, click on OK. And I'm just going to click on OK again, and it's going to create me a group here of all my opportunities that are forecasted. And it shows me all those different opportunities. Now, we'd probably want to create that group a little bit further down. You see here we have a lot that are closed won already, so we don't want those in there. So let me go edit that group. And I'll also say in my conditions that I want the opportunity status, scroll down here and find status, to be equal to, and for some reason it's not showing my status, so I'm just going to say open there. I'll just type in open. Now it'll narrow down that group a little bit more to just my opportunities that are open, as you can see in the status here. And if I click on one of these here, also I can see that that checkbox is checked for them. So again, with my forecasted opportunities group, if I go back to my list view, I still have my filters I can use in conjunction with that. So if I wanted to look at the account manager for those. So of my open forecasted opportunities, I see 10 of those are Dan Barrett's. And I can narrow that down just by clicking on Dan Barrett and quickly be able to see that account manager's forecasted opportunities. So this is pretty slick for a sales manager to be able to go through and look at all the different opportunities for the different salespeople very quickly from this forecasted opportunities group. Now, another thing we could do is take this forecasted opportunities, we can put it out here on our welcome page. We have a dashboard that we can set up out here, and there's a dashboard, another dashboard already set up called sales here. And if I add content to this sales dashboard, I could choose to set up a funnel chart here. And I'm going to base that funnel chart off of my opportunity entity. And I'm going to use my forecasted opportunities. So that's that group that we just built of open opportunities that have the forecasted box checked. And I'm going to, the dimension I'm going to check here is, let's go by account manager and the sum sales potential. And I'll display the labels, truncate the labels at 25 characters. And I'll just click on OK. Now that put down here, let me drag it over on the right here so it comes up to the top. And here's my funnel chart. So if I hover over each one, there's Dan Barrett. He's got $7 million out there. I can go up here to Linda Walsh. She's got $3 million out there. And if we wanted to do that on a different group, we could always go right into the settings here and change that to all opportunities or whatever other group we had. And it will instantly change our chart here. We can also click on the view the group, and that will bring us right to that group. It's spinning up on the top here, so it's bringing me to that opportunity group to look at those all opportunities. So that is on the dashboard or on the welcome page. And I had another dashboard set up there called sales. So if you right click, you can just choose new tab. And I created one called sales. And then within the sales, I right clicked on sales and chose add content. And that's where I went in and added the funnel chart. But you can add a group list if you wanted to add group or get to groups quickly, bar charts, column charts, several different pretty easily done things within here with these, what they're called as widgets, recently viewed activities, things like that. So you can play around with those also. Again, with the little gear up here, we can quickly switch what group we're looking at. If we're looking at tickets, in this case, we're looking at opportunities. So the entity is opportunities. The group we're looking at, we had as all opportunities and forecasted opportunities. And then the dimension, I can also change that here. We can say, well, let's look at estimated close dates and count of opportunity, and click on OK there. And here in my case, again, because my data is old, it's all earlier than August of 2018. But you get the idea there. So if we go back to opportunities again, down the left-hand side of the screen on the nav bar, again, there we've got all of our different groups, our forecasted opportunities. Now here it's only showing the 10 because I do have that filter on. Remember to take those filters off. Once you're done using them, you can click on Clear All, and we've got 64 records in our forecasted opportunities. We see all 64 of those. We could also export these. We have an export down in the common tasks in the lower right if there was some reason we needed to bring them out to an Excel sheet, if you wanted to do a pivot table or something like that. Otherwise, you can use the filters over on the right-hand side here, looking at the probability, the stages, and whatnot, to filter them by. If I go back to the opportunity again here, we talked about the stages and where you could use stages in here. The way this is set up out of the box, the stages are set with the, let me see here, with the sales processes. And you can also use sales processes in here. So with the sales processes, here's some that are set up out of the box, but you'd set up your own sales process, and that is done within the architect program, so an administrator would have to do that for you. But with the sales process, then you can have different stages and steps to work through to move that opportunity through that sales process. Otherwise, if you're not going to use the process itself, you can just have this stages moved up onto the main part of your view and just use the stages for the different stages. I often see with a seasoned sales staff that they don't use processes so much, but maybe do use the stages. And the reason it's good to use the stages is then everybody's on the same page as far as the stage and the percentage of completion that opportunity is on. We're not having everybody all over the place there. So you've got your close probability then also you can use. So if you're only forecasting opportunities that are greater than 50% or something, you could always put that into your forecasted opportunities also. So if I go back into that group again and edit that, I can also look in the opportunity table there at the close probability here for my conditions and say the close probability has to be equal to or greater than, and we could put a dollar amount there and say okay. So if you have several small opportunities out there, they won't show up in that forecast, and then just the larger opportunities. So again, that all depends on your company and on what you actually have for your opportunities. Well, we didn't end up with any in that one, so let me take that out so we get something. But that's really all your forecasting is making sure you use the data you have to the best of your ability to see what you have out there in your pipeline, closing within a period of time, different stages, whether they're open, closed, won, lost. Also with your won and lost, you could keep track of your competitors because you do have that competitors tabbed on the bottom. So if you're keeping track of your competitors for each opportunity, then you can look at your lost opportunities and see who you lost them to and the reason you lost them. The key to to all of this is making sure that you have the data in here. Without the data in here, you can't very well get a good forecast without good data. You also have the type field here. Now these out of the box for the type just have the add-on or new, but you could certainly have different types of deals if you had hardware versus service versus whatever. You could change the type here and set up that pick list to work correctly for your company. And then of course you could see your different opportunities that were open within a certain stage or within a certain estimated close date range for that type of opportunity. So once again, use your fields to the best of your ability, your add to forecast, your statuses, your close probability, set up your groups. If you set up groups, you can always share those groups. Whoops. Always share those groups by right-clicking and clicking on share. So if you create a group that you want everybody else to have, you can share that group and they will see the same information. Now you're only going to see the opportunities that you have access to. So if you're working in teams, even if the group is shared to you, that could show up as a different number on another user's computer because they're only going to be able to see the opportunities they have access to. But they would still have the formatting of the group, so all the conditions of the group and layout of the group and things like that. With that, that's about all I have for today. I want to thank you all for coming. Make sure you use the system to the best of its ability. If you've got any questions, certainly post those and we can get back to you with answers later. Thank you again for joining me today and have a great afternoon.